So congratulations on your role, particularly if you're a new incoming club treasurer for the coming year. So you're the club treasurer. What do you do? Purpose of this workshop really is to provide you with some practical guidance to help you with undertaking your role as club treasurer. As Carol mentioned, the presentation will be emailed to you after the workshop. So your duties as a club treasurer. As club treasurer, you are effectively your club's financial officer, and therefore you're responsible for financial matters pertaining to the operation of your club. Those duties include management of your club's bank accounts and maintenance of your club's financial records. Making and recording all payments made on behalf of your club from the relevant club accounts, and I'll go through those accounts shortly, in accordance with the directions of the members, board of directors, finance committee of a club, depending on what way your club is structured and decisions are taken in terms of payments. Receiving, recording and lodging all payments and donations received by the club to the relevant club accounts. You should attend all club meetings and club board of director, finance committee meetings as appropriate. You need to prepare an annual club budget and set annual membership dues in consultation with your club board of directors, finance committee officers, again, depending on what way your club is structured and the size of your club. Very importantly, at the end of the line year, you should prepare a set of annual club accounts, arrange for their checking and auditing, and submit those to the district treasurer without delay, preferably within the first few months of the start of the next line year. You may also be required to act as a club trustee for registration of your club with the charity regulator. And at the end of your role or your term as club treasurer, you should turn over all records to the incoming club treasurer at the conclusion of that term of service. So just running on from that, on the handover from the previous club treasurer, if you're a newly incoming club treasurer, you should receive and review copies of the club accounts and financial records from the previous club treasurer in digital and hard copy format as appropriate. Receive all checkbooks, lodgement cards, etc., relating to your club's bank accounts from the previous club treasurer. Make any appropriate arrangements in consultation with the previous club treasurer for the submission of any mandates that might be required by the bank to facilitate amendments to check signatories, correspondence address for club bank account, etc., which should obviously go to the club treasurer. And you should confirm that the previous club treasurer has completed the annual accounts for the previous line year for submission to the district treasurer. So, club accounts and financial records. Each club should maintain a minimum of 2 separate accounts. That is an administration account and an activities and charity account, with associated separate bank accounts and, importantly, sets of accounts and financial records and budgets. At the discretion of club members, board of directors, finance committee, some clubs may decide to operate additional bank accounts with separate dedicated sets of accounts, financial records, specific to certain fundraising service projects. Some clubs may have a very large annual projects which they run, which they maintain a separate set of bank accounts and records for. It's very important that each of those set of accounts balance independently of each other. So the first of those accounts I mentioned is your club administration account. Your club's administration account and its associated financial records are used for funds used strictly for the internal administration and running of your club. Income from annual subscription dues paid by the members of your club should be lodged and recorded to that account. Any other income raised directly from members of the club and which isn't intended for charitable purposes should again be lodged to in Oakbrook, preferably through the district treasurer, which I'll come to later on. Payment of district dues and the insurance levy on behalf of your club. Any other transactions associated with non-charity related activities of the club, such as your charter night, purchase of club apparel, convention expenses, etc. In other words, anything that isn't associated with the charitable purposes of your club. I suppose one of our big claims as Lines and a key one of our principles is any funds raised for charitable purposes are used for that, and the administration costs of running the club, the district, and internationally are covered by our members through their annual subscriptions. Administration account should also be used for the payment of expenses such as printing, postage, and other similar costs related to the administration of the club. And your club's activities charity account and its associated financial records are used for funds used to fulfill the exempt purposes and goals of your club. So it's income from public fundraising events and projects run by the club, income from any other charitable donations from members of the public received by the club, expenses for the direct costs of running fundraising events and projects, including printing, postage, prize money, etc., can legitimately be funded from that account. They're directly associated with the fundraising events or the service projects. It should also be used then obviously for donations by the club to local charities or causes, any district appeals or related projects, and any international LCIF appeals, which we've obviously had a number of those, including Ukraine, but a number of other significant ones over the past 12 or 18 months as well. And the District Youth Disaster Fund and Humanitarian Fund levies, they're included on the invoices that go out for district dues in August and January each year. And those levies can be paid separately from your charity account as well, rather than your administration account. They're related to charitable or service projects. So moving on to those accounts and keeping the appropriate financial records for them, that's one of your key duties as club treasurer. So you need to receive, record, and lodge all payments, donations received by the club to the relevant club account as appropriate. Make and record all payments made on behalf of the club from the relevant club accounts in accordance with the directions of the club members or board of directors of the finance committee, depending, as I said earlier, what way your club is set up and administered. And the maintenance of an accurate, up-to-date and transparent record of all such transactions on your club accounts is key to demonstrating compliance with your obligations as club treasurer, and that your club is operating with in the parameters of Lions Club's international purposes and the requirements of the charities regulator. So what I'm showing here is a typical pro forma. So it's an Excel sheet for your club administration account. And as I say, I'll circulate a pro forma of this to everyone as well, which you can use as a basis. Now you may have a separate similar system yourself for recording them. But the way this is set up, really, as I say, it's a standard Excel sheet. Start of the line year, you'll have your opening balance in your administration account coming through from the previous line year. You'd expect to get in your annual dues from your members. You'd record them, the amount, how they're received, and you'd keep a separate column for each significant categories of receipts and payments. So where this set up here is member subscriptions, so they're all recorded together. District dues, so payments out of district dues, payment of the district insurance levy, payment of international dues. And as you walk through the year, you have income and expenditure maybe associated with your charter dinner, with club apparel such as t-shirts or jackets or whatever. You'll obviously have bank charges associated with that account and any other miscellaneous administration items can be recorded. You record whether each item is income or expenditure, and it'll keep a running balance of those and a total at the end, and it will facilitate the transfer of that information into your annual account then at the end of the year, which I'll come to afterwards. Very similar setup for your club charity account. So set up similarly, you have your date, your payer, payee, details of the transaction and the amount, manner in which it's received by check or electronic transfer, etc. And then a heading maybe for each of your main projects or fundraisers that you raise funds for, or that money from your charity account is expended on during the course of the line year. So as you can record those income and expenditure in relation to each of those specifically afterwards, and you'll have a separate figure for those. Each transaction you record, whether it's income or expenditure, and again, running balance will be kept, and again, it will facilitate easy transfer of this information to your annual accounts at the end of the line year. Next item on duties of the club treasurer is very important that the treasurer attends each of the club meetings where possible. I should also attend any specific meetings if your club has a finance committee or board of directors in which there may be a conversation or discussion in relation to any financial aspects of the administration or projects are run by the club. In advance of each club meeting, you should prepare a monthly financial report. It can be fairly straightforward. It should include details of the current balance on the club's administration and the activities charity account, as well as any other accounts if they're maintained by your club. It should include details of any income and expenditure to those accounts since the previous meeting, and details of any anticipated expenditure and income over the coming month. And ideally, you should circulate that to all members, either yourself directly or through your club secretary prior to the meeting, so they have a chance to consider it ahead of the meeting. I'll move on now to payments of the international dues first, and then I'll cover district dues and charges. As I mentioned previously, one of our proudest claims as Lions is that every cent raised by our clubs goes to the cause for which it was raised, and then any costs associated with the administration of the organisation at club, district and international level are paid for by Lions members through their annual subscriptions. As club treasurer, you are responsible for coordinating the collection of the annual subscriptions from your co-members of your club, and for then paying international dues to LCI and district dues to the district treasurer on their behalf. Before looking at both international and district dues in detail, we will first look at the different types and categories of membership offered by LCI, as these can affect the amounts of dues payable by each member. Some membership types: regular member, which covers maybe 90, 95, 97% of our members. That's the standard membership offered by LCI. Regular members pay an LCI entrance fee of $35. So any new member joining a club, a joining fee or an entrance fee of $35 has to be paid by the club to LCI. Now, that has been waived for the last couple of line years due to COVID, but my understanding, and as Ger mentioned earlier, that arrangement is due to end at the end of the current line year at the end of June. So it will be reintroduced again from the 1st of July. And regular members pay full annual international dues of $43 per annum. LCI run a family membership program, which is open to family members who are satisfy a number of criteria. They're eligible, obviously, for Lions membership. They're currently in or joining the same club, and they live in the same household and are related by birth, marriage, or other legal relationship. The first family member, which is termed the head of household, pays full international dues, that's the $43 per annum. But up to 4 additional family members pay only half that amount. So there's a saving there of $21.50 per annum for any additional family members. All members pay the one-time entrance fee of $35. Student members between the age of 18 and 30 in full-time education don't pay an entrance fee, and they get a similar discount to family members. They again pay half the international dues. So that's $21.50 per annum rather than $43. It's important to avail of the discounts on the family and student membership that your club secretary completes the appropriate certification on my LCI to avail of those membership types and associated discounts. There are then a number of membership categories. You have an active member, which is your typical or regular category of membership. That category of member pays international, district, and club dues. You've what's called an affiliate member, which is someone who's not able to participate as an active member, but desires to support the club in its community service initiative. They again pay the full range. It's not something that is used a lot within our district. There are a small number. Some clubs use it where people want to remain a member but aren't in a position to actively participate. You have an associate member, which is someone who has an active membership of one Lions club, and they may have associate membership of a second club in their community of residence or employment. So they may have originally joined a Lions club, the town, city where they were born, but moved for work reasons or spend a good deal of time somewhere else and have opted to join a second Lions club there. That category of member pays international dues and district dues only once, that is to the club to which they are registered, and they would only pay any additional specific club dues to both clubs. Again, it's not something that is used extensively in our district. Couple of other categories of member. There's an honorary member, which is someone that's not a member of a Lions Club, but a Lions Club can decide to grant someone in their community in recognition for having performed outstanding service, honorary membership, make them an honorary line. In that case, it's the club rather than the member who pays the dues. And there's life membership, which can be granted to a line who's maintained an active membership for at least 20 years or at least 15 years if they've reached the age of 70. But that's subject to payment of a once-off fee of $650. Again, not something that's used extensively in our district. I think I've only come across one or two. And only district or club dues are then payable, obviously, by that member. And member at large, which is commonly used, it's a member who's unable to attend regular club meetings, but decides they want to retain membership in the club, and they again pay the same dues as a regular member. So moving on to the payment of LCI international dues and charges. The LCI dues are invoiced at a rate of $21.50 per half year for regular members. That's $43 a year. Same applies to affiliate members and to members at large. As I mentioned, a 50% discount is applied for student and family members. These dues are invoiced on a half-yearly basis, that is on the 30th of June, Moti 1, which is the first half of our line year, which runs from July to June, and on the 31st of December each line year. And it's based on the members of each club registered on MyLCI on that date. So that's a typical dues invoice, which will come out, and it'll have a figure in US dollars. It is important to ensure that your club secretary maintains an up-to-date record of your club members on MyLCI, including recording any members who have resigned or passed away in order to avoid being invoiced for dues for persons who are no longer members of your club. If Lions Club International don't know a member has left and is no longer a line or has passed away during the line year, they will continue to invoice for that member. So it's important, very important, your club secretary maintains an up-to-date record on MyLCI. If they need any assistance in that regard, they can make contact with District Secretary Carl, who would point them in the right direction. Your club secretary is also obliged to register new members recruited by your club on MyLCI. And as I noted, the following charges will be applied to your clubs following the registration of a new member. So you have the new member registration fee of $35. As Jeremy mentioned, the board of directors applied a waiver on that registration fee for the past couple of years due to COVID. That is due to end on the 30th of June. Some clubs were aware of maybe delaying registering new members, thinking that they're going to save on dues. They're not. If you wait until after the 30th of June to register any new members, if you register them in July or August, you're going to be levied $35 for each of those new members. If you pay, I would suggest paying it by registering that new member by the beginning of June, because it can take a week or two for the records to be updated to reflect that. You will save that $35 registration fee for those members. There's a pro rata charge for the amount of half-yearly LCI dues based on the month of registration. If you register someone the 1st of June, you're going to pay 1/6 of the $21.50. So about $3 or $4 is what it will cost you for the month of June to register that member, and you're saving the $35. In addition to the half-yearly invoices, which I displayed there earlier, LCI also issue a monthly statement to the club treasurer at the end of each month, identifying the balance of any monies due to LCI, any payments received, and any charges incurred during the current month. So it's a typical statement. So it'll have the balance brought forward from the previous month. And if a new member has been added, there'll be a pro rata. In this case here, it was a member that was added in its month day here. So this was the 8th of April. This was last year. So dues were charged for April, May, and June, which was for 3 months, which was half the $21.50 on a pro rata basis. So, and it will show at the end in both US dollars and in euros for clubs south of the border, or in pound sterling for any clubs in the north. Balance will be shown based on the current LCI exchange rate, which is also shown towards the top of that statement. As I say, those statements are issued on a monthly basis to each treasurer. Club treasurers can readily access all of the half-yearly dues invoices and the monthly statements for both the current line year and the past 2 line years for their club on the LCI line account portal. As club treasurer, as the registered club treasurer, you will have access to that information on my LCI. So it's very important to make sure that you are registered on my LCI, and important that your club secretary has recorded you as club treasurer. So when you go into access your line account, you sign in. If you don't already have account, you can register. You'll need your line number, which you can get from your club secretary, and you can set up yourself up readily on my LCI. When you go in to the member portal on that, you will see a screen like this. You press My LCI, and that will take you to the My LCI homepage. So to see the dues and charges then on that homepage, if you click My Lions Club, you get a drop-down menu which says Statement and Dues. When you select that, it will come up with this screen. The upper half of that shows the current balance. So it'll have the closing balance at the end of the previous month, any payments received during the current month from your club by LCI, any charges incurred. So that could be if there was a new member registered, you can incur dues for those. Supplies may have been bought through LCI rather than the district supplies officer, they would also appear on there. So it'll show a current balance at that point. Payments, if dues have been paid, etc., that'll be shown there as well. You can also go down lower half of the page there, shows each of the statements for each month over the previous current line year, including the dues invoice in this situation here issued in December. And there is a tab to click for the 2 previous line years as well, which will bring that information up. And all of those documents, by clicking then on the view stroke print, you can readily download or print those documents in PDF format. In terms of the payment of LCI dues and charges, their invoices state payment is due within 30 days after invoice date. The District would encourage clubs to honour this requirement, but at a minimum to ensure that payment of the first and second moties of international dues. The first one is paid by mid-October and the second one is paid by mid-February. Although those payments can be made directly to LCI, we would encourage clubs to pay those via the district treasurer, either by cheque or electronic transfer to the district international dues account. It's a separate bank account. You're transferring electronically from the district administration account. By paying it through the district, it ensures district treasurer is fully aware of the status of all clubs in the district. As I say, it can take time for the payments to be processed by Oakbrook and their records to be updated. So it's preferable to pay them through the district treasurer. LCI have a financial suspension policy, and clubs with an unpaid balance in excess of $20 per member or $1,000 per club, whichever is less, outstanding past 120 days, 4 months approximately, will be automatically suspended, including their charter, rights, privileges, and obligation of the lines of. In the event that, having been suspended, that they do not reattain active status by the 28th day of the month following suspension, their charter will be automatically cancelled. We currently have a small number of clubs who entered financial suspension on the 13th of May because they hadn't paid the second moti of international dues due to LCI. Those clubs were currently following up with those clubs, because if those dues aren't received and recorded by LCI by the 28th of June, those clubs will be cancelled. So it's important really to try and get your dues in from your members and paid via the district treasurer to LCI, so as you don't risk the chance of your club being suspended and subsequently cancelled. In order for a club to be considered in good standing, entitled to vote at district convention, the current moti of both international and district dues must have been paid and their accounts for the previous 9 years submitted to the district treasurer. So that covers LCI international dues payable to LCI in Oakbrook. Next, I'll move on to the payment of district fees and levies associated with the administration of our District 133. So similarly, district fees and levies are invoiced on a similar semi-annual basis to the international dues. Invoices for Moti 1 from July to December and Moti 2 January to June are issued by the district treasurer to each club treasurer by email in late August, early September, and January, respectively, each year. As per international dues, these are calculated on the basis of members of each club registered on my LCI on the 30th of June, 31st of December each year. So the LCI database is used as the record of the current members of your club for the purpose of invoicing district dues and levies. So again, it's important that your club secretary ensures that club membership is accurately recorded on my LCI. So this is a typical invoice for a moti. This would have been for the second moti of district fees and levies. So the top half of that looks like this, and that is just a schedule of the amount of the district dues and levies payable for each member and for each part of the year. So Moti 1, July to December of the year, regular member, it's €15 or the equivalent in sterling for clubs in the north, which is invoiced $7.50 in the first moti, $7.50 in the second moti each year. Similar discount is applied for family and student members, so they pay half that amount. District insurance, so the costs associated with the payment of our premiums for insurance for our members participating in all Lions Club activities. It's higher than all our other administration costs, and that is levied based more or less on the annual premiums that were paid, and all of that is invoiced as part of the first MOTI, because that our policy currently finishes in November, so we need the funds in the first MOTI to be in a position to pay the premium for that year. So the total amount payable from your club administration account for each regular member for the first MOTI is 24 euros, and for family student members, they have the 375 discount on the administration fee. They pay the full amount of the insurance levy because that's on a per member basis. So it's 2025 for family student member. And the second half of the line year, there's no insurance levy, so it's just the administration fee of 750, 375 for the student member. So the total annual total is 3150 for a regular member for district fees, and 24 euros for a family or a student member. As I mentioned earlier, also included on the invoice is the levy for youth, the district disaster fund contribution, and district humanitarian fund contribution, which is a total of 10 euros per year per member towards the youth levy, invoiced in two halves, 5 euros per MOTI, and that contributes towards the youth football, young ambassador, youth exchange, inward, outwards, peace poster competition. So it supplements the funding of those different youth projects. The district disaster fund and humanitarian fund contributions, 2 euros per member per year, €1 invoiced to each of the two MOTI. So the total amounts, 7 euros per MOTI, 14 euros in total for the year. But as I say, that comes from your charity account, not from your administration account and not from your members' dues. So the bottom half of the invoice shows the specific amounts payable. So this typical one from Cork. So we show the Lions Club, club ID, the invoice date. So this would have been for the first MOTI of dues for the first half of the current line year. As I say, it's based on the LCI records. So it records the different numbers of each category of member. Then each of the amounts due, specifically set out, the amounts payable, the amounts due. So the subtotals for each of those, and they're split between your club administration account and your club service account or charity account. So as you know, the amount you're paying from each. The other thing that I'm showing here is the district currently run a credit for an incentive for recruitment again of new members, and that offers a discount of 25 euros for each member recruited in the previous half year. So again, that's a further incentive to record and make sure you get any new members registered and onto LCI before the 30th of June to take advantage of that credit. It sets out how you can pay those dues. They can either be paid by check or by electronic transfer, and details the accounts to which they should be paid. We'd encourage clubs to pay the first and second MOTI of those by mid-October and mid-February at the latest each year. As I mentioned, payment can be made by check or electronic fund transfer if your club has online banking facilities, and there's more and more clubs doing that now. And as with international dues, club must have paid the current moiety of district fees and levies to be considered in good standing and entitled to vote at district convention. Annual club accounts, as I mentioned, you need to prepare a set of club accounts for both your administration account and your charity account at the end of the line year. As well as if you have any other accounts held by your club, you should prepare a set of accounts for those as well. And those need to be submitted, should be submitted to the district treasurer, copy of those. So again, I have a pro forma of these, which I will circulate. This is a typical sample of what is acceptable for your administration account. So it would record the main items of income and expenditure from that account over the previous line year. And as I mentioned, if you use the pro forma Excel sheet that I put up there earlier, that information is readily extractable for inclusion on this. It will then record the opening balance at the start of the line year, the total of your income, less the total of your expenditure, and that should match your bank account balance at the end of the year. It should be signed off by the club treasurer, and it should be checked by someone competent to check it. You may have such a member in your club, or you may have an external accountant or auditor that's prepared to do that on your behalf. Very similar pro forma for your charity accounts. So again, record your main items of income to your charity account, various fundraisers, donations, any other income, the main expenditure, and I've included here the youth fund levy, the disaster fund levy, and the humanitarian fund levy amounts which would come out of that account. And similarly, that should balance, and need to balance independently of the administration account at the end of the year. Budgets and annual dues. The administration account budget and associated annual subscription dues payable by your members should be calculated on the anticipated income and expenditure to the account over the coming years. So it obviously needs to include for your LCI dues, $43 per regular member, depending on the exchange rate at the time in euros. It needs to include your district fees and insurance levy, $31.50 per regular member, as well as any other administration costs and expenses associated with the running of your club over the course of the year. And depending, and refer back to previous year's accounts, you'll see what additional costs typically should be included for there. For activities and charity account, that should be developed in consultation with your club president, club officers, board of directors, and generally be based on the planned income and expenditure, depending on the fundraising and donations you anticipate being carried out over the coming year. Previous year's annual accounts should provide a good basis for developing those budgets. So that's the end of my summary. I'm quite happy to take any questions, or if there's anything that you want to email me on, I can come back to you the performance, and that will be distributed. And this presentation, there are a couple of useful links included there as well.